Hello, everybody, and welcome to Two Men in a Motor. I'm Si.
And I'm Al.
How are you, Al?
Fine, it's absolutely fine. My hair's going back a little bit, and yours hasn't been cut yet, as I can see.
I'm still socially distancing.
Oh yeah, I can't. I'm in the shops every day, mate. So I've got it now. I've got it. Do you know what I mean? But I doubt I've got it.
I think I'm not bothered about getting it or if I've had it or whatnot. But I like not dealing with people. If I'm totally honest, I think that's why I like cars, because I can just shut the world out.
This is our top 10 Fords, and Si's going to do his top 5 first of all. So, Si, off you go.
This was difficult for me, Al. This was difficult because I'm not a massive Ford fan, and it was weird because I came up with the idea. So I think I liked a bit of a challenge. But you see, there's a difference between not liking Fords, but you've got to appreciate what they did. Obviously, without Mr. Ford, you wouldn't have modern cars and everything else. So they are a massive deal in the automotive world. They are they are a massive, massive deal. I've only ever owned one, and all our listeners and our subs, they know that I harangued my granddad into getting an ST Focus.
A Motability. Go to shops in. God bless you.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what, if he didn't need incontinence pads before, he certainly did once he got in that Fiesta, I tell you. He'd never been to the shop so quick in his life.
Right. What's next? Let's get off that now. What's your fifth one? What's your first one, sorry?
These aren't in order, mate. These aren't like fifth one. These are just what I think are like iconic and the Fords that I really like. Okay.
The first one, go.
First one, Ford Fiesta RS or ST. Ford Fiesta ST.
How long have we had to prepare for this? You can't even get your card right. How long have we had?
Ford Fiesta ST. I've sent you some photos of an orange one, and orange is the only colour that you can get it in. It's the performance spec one, and it's just absolutely brilliant. Looks great, looks aggressive, goes like stink, hatchback, loads of space. But with modern Fords, and again, I think Fords have come on leaps and bounds. I've been in your Fiesta. It's like a TARDIS. It looks small on the outside, but it's big inside.
Yeah.
You've got a 6.5-inch touch screen. You've got nav. You've got DAB. You've got everything.
Hang on. 8-inch touch screen.
Sorry, mate. 8-inch touchscreen.
It's better.
No wonder your fat fingers can touch from one side of the screen to the other.
I'm very good with my left hand now because obviously you're driving like that, and you have to not like that. You're driving, and then you have to play with your touchscreen with your left hand. So I'm quite ambidextrous these days.
Oh, awesome! Is that what they call the stranger when you use your left hand? Does your touchscreen not know it's you?
No, it just feels like it's somebody else. Move on.
And yeah, cheaper than the Germans, cheaper than a Golf, a BMW, and Merc, everything else. Manual stick shift, great to drive, just a great little car. And I think that, and again, the Fiesta as a whole, yes, revolutionised the small hatch and the small hatchback and everything else. We wouldn't be anywhere if there wasn't a Ford Fiesta. And the Ford Fiesta has gone through the ages, hasn't it? Through decades and decades and decades and decades. I can remember the Fiesta when I was a little lad. I can remember the Fiesta now as a 35-year-old man. They are still going strong. They're still selling like hotcakes. And if you get a little performance one, you just got to have a whale of a time, and you're going to have a great time. So Ford Fiesta ST for me.
Right, so the Fiesta was your first choice. What's your second one?
Yeah, I'm going to throw this right back now, Al, to the late 80s, 1987, the Ford Sierra, and more importantly, the Ford Sierra RS Cosworth. Now, I know you're not a fan of these cars, Al.
I hate Sierras because they were just ugly, brutish cars. They were known as the jelly mold, weren't they, when they came out? Because they just had no style whatsoever. And they replaced an icon, which was the Cortina, with that thing. Thank God for the Mondeo. That's all I can say. But the Sierras are horrible cars. But the one you chose, and you can't deny its greatness.
Absolutely. It's weird, though, and it's amazing, isn't it? Like, beauty is certainly in the eye of the beholder, because I look at it, and fair enough, it's got to be an RS Cosworth. A normal Sierra, most of it doesn't look great. No. But I look at that Sierra Cosworth, and I love the front. Looking at that Sierra front on, something weird, because they are very ugly, and they are very basic and very basic shapes. But I love the big headlights, the small kind of rectangular grille. And then you've got that big swooping bonnet, and then the vents down each side of the bonnet. I think they look incredible.
Yeah, but you've got vents in the bonnet and stuff because they're rally cars, weren't they? Or they were, very high performance cars, and that made it look better. And your average Sierra was just vile. But yeah, Cosworth looked great because it was really souped up. You had that wing on the back, didn't you? It's made all the difference. So yeah, I understand that.
But yeah, again, you're going back to the 80s, so the interior, again, not great. Seats, horrible. Dashboard, interior buttons, placement of buttons and everything else, not great. I wouldn't spend £50,000 on that car now, which is what it's on Auto Trader for.
Really?
And sit in that cockpit.
£50,000?
50. There's currently 2 for sale in the UK. A grey one and a white one. The grey one is up for 45, and the white one is 50.
Wow! I would have thought there'd be only 2 for sale.
Yes, only 2 RS Cosworths. There's 5 or 6 Sierras, but RS Cosworths is only 2. And yeah, they are immaculate. The grey one has certainly been used more. The seats have been more satin and creased and stuff. But this is the point that I was making from like the modern Fiesta. You wouldn't know you were sat in a Ford, in a modern Ford.
Yeah.
Like I said, the buttons, the button placement, the finish quality, the soft materials around the dash, the in-car entertainment, all of the mod cons. You wouldn't know if you were sat in an English, a British, a German, an Italian, a Japanese. They have really come on leaps and bounds. But that RS Cosworth, basically, it's all about the drive, the performance, the engine and the wing on the back. The interior is not great. But again, I think that is a real icon. Motorsport pedigree, rally cars, touring cars, whatever else they were in, a real icon of the 80s. And the one that I've picked, it's got an in-car old school phone.
Oh,
so you imagine drifting that 4-wheel drift on the phone, buy, sell, drifting your RS Cosworth. Yes. Brilliant.
Yuppie heaven.
Absolutely.
Great, that's actually talking my language now. Okay, what's your third one?
Third one, and again, there's a real yin and yang between me and you, isn't there? All yours are going to be slow and rubbish, and all mine.
It's very nice.
And all mine are fast, powerful, top of the range spec. And my next one is indeed the Ford Focus.
What, the RS or?
Well, I think you've got to pay homage to the Focus anyway, because when the Focus first came along, it was like an alien had brought it out of space. There was nothing that had those shapes. The first Focus had triangular wheel arches.
Triangular? Are you sure?
Very angular, weren't they?
Yeah, they're very angular.
The wheel, they were very angular.
I know. I had the Focus Mark 1, and I know when they first came out, it was a very avant-garde shape, and whoever designed it was a genius, because it was a car which wasn't much bigger than an Escort, which it replaced, but you get 5 people in absolute ease and comfort and loads of boot space. Just an absolute genius design.
I don't know if Ford have ever been in trouble or have ever risked going bust, but that Focus, in my eyes, most probably saved Ford, most probably brought Ford into the future.
Yeah.
Instead of it just languishing in the past like so many British manufacturers, it brought that right up to date. The interior was crazy. The design, the sharp headlights, the lights at the back, everything, it had just not been seen before. And it did stop you, even if it was a 1.4 diesel, you'd go, bloody hell, look at that, it's crazy, look at the lights, look at the bumper, whatever. And that has come on leaps and bounds again, and they keep modernizing it, they keep bringing out newer versions, they keep making it better. It's always, in my eyes, been styled brilliant. I don't think there's ever been a bad looking Focus.
But that first one, it was like, the back end of it was enormous, but it wasn't. We looked at it.
You'd think that you couldn't see out the back window, but you could.
You want mate?
You'd think you couldn't see out the back window, but you could.
Oh yeah,
you thought like visibility being an issue with all the pillars and stuff, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, great vision inside. It was amazing. Yeah, it was just. I still can't even head around that design. It was like I don't know how even thought of that design. It was just incredible. So, but now it's like it's a bit of a shame now because you see them all the time. You're used to it, and you don't appreciate how good it was.
And again, the balls of those designers, and probably the chief exec or whoever it goes through to make it from just a design to actual production, that could have turned off a massive proportion of their customers and gone, I hate it. You know, to actually put that into production, and again, it sounds maybe over the top, but that, in my eyes, to put that first generation in production was a major risk.
Well, you think it was what was it replacing? It was replacing the Escort.
Yeah,
which was like the biggest seller, wasn't it? But it was past its time. The Escort, it had to be changed, but to be changed that radically, it was just like wow.
And my personal favourite is the 2009 Focus RS.
Right.
So not the very latest one. I just think the shape of the 2009 Focus suits the RS more. The lights slope down at the back, so the big protruding spoiler sticks. It just seems to stick out for miles. And the only colour you can get it in is lime green with a black roof and a black spoiler. That is it.
I love that lime green. I think it's great. I think it looks really cool.
Somebody put on our social media a couple of days ago, why don't manufacturers do this anymore? And they pick a really outlandish colour to kind of, so you know what that Focus is. Yeah. So you know that's not a 1.9 TDI. You know it's not a 1.6 ST line. You know that is an RS just by the paint job. And that's exactly how it should be.
Yeah, it should be. Mate, you're absolutely right. You probably just go with economics now. So if somebody in China wants an orange, whatever, and you're going to get it, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is a shame, but there you go. So what's your fourth one?
Fourth is, and again, we've spoken about this, and I've brought this one to the table in our last episode with Res Cars. It's the Escort Cosworth. And again, Ford, you know, you've got to really give them credit where credit's due. They sell in millions and millions of cars, and the Escort, again, was going through the decades, and it does seem to run and run and run. But the Escort Cosworth with the massive wing on the back, to me, it was just something else. It just blew me away as a kid. Like I said in the previous episode, there was one at the bottom of my nan and granddad's road, and whenever you were walking down to see them and this blue one was outside, you knew that you were walking to something special. It wasn't just an Escort. It wasn't what everybody else had. You knew that this was something else. And even as a 10, 11-year-old lad, I wanted to drive that car. Then and there, even if you just said, go ahead, mate, jump in the passenger side and I'll take you for a spin in it, I would have gone weak at the knees. It was just something about that car that had to be driven. And again, nowhere near as bad as the Sierra Cosworth. The interiors at this point, 96, 97, were certainly getting better. Nice place to be, full Recaro interior, manual again, so you're getting a real enjoyment out of driving it. Looks great, drives great, still rare now. Again, you know, it's so weird since we started thinking about cars from our childhood that make daily drivers, and you start thinking, you don't see any of them. You know, It's weird now how all these cars are appreciating in value, but on a day-to-day basis, I see more Porsche, more AMG Mercedes, more McLarens, more Bentleys, more Ferraris than I do a 1987 M3, an RS Cosworth, an Escort Cosworth.
Yeah.
You don't see any of them. You don't see these cars at all. So no wonder they're appreciating in value. If you had one and you kept it and you looked after it, you're in the money. You are absolutely in the money. You think a 1987 BMW M3 is going for over $100,000? It's just incredible.
Yeah, it makes it right.
It's so rare.
They're cool as well, aren't they? I mean, cars like that. It's like we watched the car guys on YouTube, and Jason bought his Talbot Sunbeam with the Lotus engine in. And you think, well, that's more rare and more cool than a Lambo.
Exactly.
Because you just don't see them anymore. And he still gets loads of enjoyment out of it. So the Escort's a bit like that, and the Cosworth. So you don't see... If I saw a Cosworth in the street, and I'd be like, oh my God, you've been taking photos.
Yeah.
Just don't see them there.
No.
Right, then what's your last one?
Okay. Mustang.
Which, now, I knew you were going to pick this because you told me, and I was really surprised. I thought you hated Mustangs.
So let me go on record and say I do. The Mustangs from the 90s up to now have just got bigger, wider, heavier, slower. They're just not great. They're just not great cars. The Mustang of I think between 96 and 2000, they were just the worst things you have ever seen in your life. But the 1967-68 Mustang is just a thing of beauty, and I would own one in a heartbeat. And I don't know why, because it's well before my time, but there is just something about those Mustangs. The front, the styling, they look big, they're long at the front, they're long at the back. Those 3 red strip lights at the back are just iconic. The side profile, the silhouette, stunning. And I also think in the 60s and the 70s, you had all those iconic actors and you had all those iconic racing drivers. You had all those iconic movies. So the one that I have picked is actually the Bullet Edition. So again, if you remember the movie or you've seen the movie, it was a real dark green 1967 Mustang. The black, chunky 5-spoke alloy wheels on it. It's just brilliant. You talk about road presence, that has got the presence. It's low, it's wide, it's got 2 big single headlights at the front, it's got the 3 strip lights in the back. I just love it. I just absolutely love it.
I agree, mate. It's very, very... I hate using the word iconic because it's overused now, but it is because Steve McQueen drove it in that film. I looked cool and he made it cool, and it was a great car anyway. Everything was right about it. It's a muscle car, it's not too muscly.
Exactly. Like some of the muscle cars are horrendous. What was the one? I want to say the Barracuda, but it might not be. But there was a muscle car and it had basically a wing on the back that was so big you could almost stand in it. Just stupid. But again, there was no spoilers or wings or anything on that Mustang. It was just a sleek silhouette. Side profile of that Mustang, brilliant. The front was so basic. It just had a small rectangular grille, stallion in the middle of it, 2 single headlights each side. It was just absolutely brilliant. And I think it's a real shame that the Mustang for so long actually went away from that original design. Yes, they're bringing it back now. The back sloping down at the back. They've got the 3 red lights at the back of it. They've got single headlights at the front. But for a good decade, the Mustang was just lost in the wilderness in my eyes. It was just nowhere to be seen. It was fat, slow, slobbish, no power. You know, they were putting 5-litre engines in them, but getting hardly any brake horsepower or top speed out of them. Just rubbish cars. But take me back to generation number 1. Take me back to the 1960s. Put me in that Bullet Mustang, and I'll be a happy boy.
Right, so there's size top 5 Fords. Do you agree with us? Let us know. Get in touch with us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr. We're all at Two Men in a Motor on those social medias. If you subscribe to us, we are down there. Down there's a little button, red button, little bit square thing. Press on it, subscribe, and there'll be a big one in a second on the screen. You can just hit that, subscribe to us whenever you like, and tell your friends, and please, we need more followers and likes and whatever. Yeah. Si, anything to add?
No, just again that we're on Drive Tribe, and I hope when Al says there's a big one coming up, he means the subscribe button and nothing else. But yeah, let's crack on with your 5.
So tune in next time to see what my top 5 thoughts are. See you soon. Goodbye. Nice.
Bye.